After 3 years and over 300,000 downloads, we were forced to give up our show. Anne and Frank are not our real names, but these are our real experiences and honest opinions. The victim mafia has become a powerful beast. They have become the victimizers and are forcing their dysfunctions on us all. When we stood up to them, they looked up our home addresses. They called our employers. They threatened our very livelihoods until we were quiet. But instead of letting them win, we decided to continue the fight. As Anne and Frank, live from Ned's attic. Hey everybody, welcome to the latest installment of the Anne and Frank Show. I'm actually joined today by Anne. I'm very excited. She came in. Hi.
Hi.
And Ned, as always, is here. You're feeling better this week, Ned?
Yeah, thank you, I am.
You too, Anne?
Much better, thank you.
Last week, although I think there were some pearls of wisdom, because every time I talk there is. Because I'm a really incredible broadcaster. But with that aside, it was a very tough show because we just weren't on our game. You weren't here. Ned looked horrible. I looked over and it looked like he was going to shit his pants.
I didn't feel good.
So I was trying to hold it together, and Karen was great fill-in, and so on and so forth. And our guest was great, even though he never retweeted the show. But anyway, if you're new to the show or if last week was the first time, I hope you give us one more chance. We usually do a pretty good show, and I think we got a full show for you today. There really isn't much to talk about preamble-wise. It was a great week in news, certainly for this show, because the sort of the subtext of this show is about personal responsibility and race, and we've defended cops on this show a lot, and we had two great stories this week. We had the McKinney pool party fiasco, which everyone knows about it. Unless you've been living under a rock this last week, you know about Officer... you okay?
It was just a cough.
Don't get me sick. Case Bolt, who wrestled a 14-year-old African-American girl to the ground in her bikini, and it became a huge viral video. There's protesters. It's the latest white cop on black person, quote-unquote, brutality. But like 99% of the other ones, in my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with what the officer did. I defend his actions 100%. I see a lot of people saying, yeah, maybe he went too far. I don't even put that part in my opinion. I don't think he went too far at all. I think too far would have been, shooting someone or striking her with the baton. But restraining a girl who's, I don't want to say fighting, but definitely being, her attitude is problematic with the police. I have no problem with it. And when he does draw his gun, I have no problem with it either. You watch the video, you see these two, kids. They're two boys. They're pretty big boys. Sort of step up on him. They even put themselves in like a fight position when he's taking her to the ground, and he pulls his gun on them. As soon as he pulls the gun, they run, and he puts the gun away.
Is he the only officer there?
No. And we'll get into the story.
Okay.
But no, he was not. But he's the one on video, and he resigned amidst thousands of death threats because, of course, he's the latest white racist cop who's, doing his job. And then, of course, the other story, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. It's Rachel Dolezal?
I don't know how to pronounce it either.
I think it's Dolezal. You can look that up for me, Ned. That would be great.
Yep.
Is a white woman who is the head of the NAACP chapter.
Rachel Dolezal.
NAAO.
The National Association for the Advancement of Color People. And she lives...
That's so... I'm sorry, right there. How can they call it the advancement of colored people? You'd think they would have advanced and changed their name by now, because that is a very offensive word.
I have to agree. I don't even know if... Is it offensive? It seems offensive to me.
It's offensive. It's old. It's you're just a skin color.
I was thinking of NAFA.
Oh, yeah, our friends Napa. We need to have them back on. We haven't had them as Anne and Frank yet. But this woman lived as a black woman. She is a black woman to everybody that knows her. She has a black son, and she is the head of the NAACP's chapter in Spokane, Washington.
I just wanted to mention to you, I found the video of her walking out that I could play for later.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's great. And I want to save that part when she goes, I don't understand the question, because I want to use that on this show. Whenever we ask a very obvious question and the person just snaps, because we've put people in that position before. Like NAFA, which is the National Association for the Acceptance of Fat Americans or something. We had this 300-pound woman who...
But we can't say fat either. See, there's
But she put fat in there. I know. They're so confusing. But anyway, we asked Peggy, a 300-pound woman who claimed she was discriminated against because she couldn't get a job at the fire department. Not because she was too fat to lift a hose, but because she was being discriminated. We asked her, if maybe she was overweight because she ate too much, and she hung up on us. That would have been a great time to use that Dolezal clip. But anyway, Dolezal is a black woman, 37 years, head of the NAACP chapter in Spokane, Washington, was outed by her white parents. Both her parents are white. She doesn't have any African American blood. Maybe there's a grandmother somewhere in there that was like a quarter, but she is Czech, I think French, and German. And if you find a picture of this woman when she was 17 or 18, she's the whitest girl you've ever seen. So what she did to pose as a black woman is she basically frizzed her hair and got spray tan. And she was able to fake her way into the NAACP. And it's an amazing story because to me, there's a lot of different angles on this. Of course, where I've seen this sort of go on social media is the our right-wing friends have used this to say, wait, how is this? Because everyone's attacking her. I mean, the NAACP is embarrassed, African Americans are embarrassed, and everybody's saying, wait a minute, we've watched Bruce Jenner become Caitlyn Jenner, and it's enough now. The left continually tells us, it's the right talking, that just because of what you feel or identify as, that's what we have to respect you as and call you. So if you're a man saying you always felt like a woman, you're a woman. So Dolezal saying she's black, is she trans race? And it's been pretty funny to watch the right use this. Although I don't like when people use stories like this to push their agenda, it has been funny and amusing because the left wing is literally in this quandary in their own bullshit. How do you defend Bruce Jenner as a woman and then bash this Dolezal, Rachel Dolezal, as a pretender or a liar? How is it any different? Yes, Anne.
I just don't believe that she really had the intent, the mindset of, I feel like I'm a black person in a white person's body. The way he says I'm a woman trapped in a man's body. I think she actually was deceptive and wanted attention, and I've compared it to Munchausen, where she wanted people to feel bad for her and get all this attention and then look amazing as she solves the problem,
right,
and get all this hero recognition for being a leader and doing all this work. And I think she probably truly was a victim that was left out. And let's face it, the black community is one of the tightest. And it's something that I do envy about them. Us whites do not stick together. We're just to each his own. They're like a family, and maybe she wanted to fit in. And then
well, they're not shooting each other.
We do. We stab each other and choke each other instead.
Why couldn't she just be a Caucasian woman working for the NAACP, fighting for black people's rights?
Well, she can. There is no part in the NAACP's byline that says you have to be African American to work for the NAACP. Right. She likely could have gotten the same job and same position. Yeah. And the NAACP is defending her now, saying as such, like, we don't care if she's black or white.
Well, and Adam in chat said that Bruce Jenner isn't leading a woman's organization. That's right. The difference, too, is she's leading an organization and saying she's somebody she's not. He's not. He's not a feminist now.
Right, and that's my problem with the comparison. Although, again, I love watching it. I love watching people on the left, do basically what Rachel Dolezal did in the interview when the guy asked her if she was African American. They crack. And it's like, this is the problem. This has always been the problem. I'm not against transgender rights or anything, but how far does it go? We've said that on this show and the old show so many times. If you start accepting everybody for what they say they are, where does it end? This is the kind of thing that I warned about. Thank you, Ned, for that frightening face. Whatever.
The coffee's kicking in.
He just ate out his fingers and gave me a death stare.
And just so we're clear, she does have 2 black children, which she mentions and uses as kind of leverage, I think. But those are not her children. She adopted her adopted black brothers.
Right.
So she does have some representation that she cares about. But that's like me saying I'm Chinese because I have Chinese kids.
Right. And obviously you can't. And yes, that is the problem with comparing this to Bruce Jenner because, for it to be a straight comparison, Bruce Jenner would have to always have said he was a woman, never have said I'm transitioning, like I am a woman, and then ran the organization chair of like the National Organization of Women now. Could
you imagine if we found out he had a penis later? Like, women would freak out.
Of course. And I don't fault anyone for freaking out about this, but I will say the NAACP has been pretty cool about it. They're Ned, no more coffee. He's blowing the microphone. Yeah, just wow. This is good practice for me. Try and tune him out. He's like cracking out over there. Yeah, it's
That's
not
racist.
comparable. It is not. And
That's racist.
it's a fascinating story, but here's why I think it's fascinating. This is my sort of take on this. I'm watching this whole Dolezal thing go down. I think it's actually progress. Because...
Why?
Because the NAACP, the way they're defending her, if you followed it, is they're saying, we don't care if she's black or white. That's not important to us. They're now saying race is not important. What we stand behind is the work that Rachel Dolezal has done in our community. And they haven't fired her. So even though they're the national, the NAACP for colored people, and their entire thing is about race, they are using this to say, no, it doesn't matter, which is great.
Which brings back the question, why did she go out of her way to do this in the first place?
Okay, well,
if she didn't need to, at all.
Well, I don't know. Maybe
that's what's the most striking thing about it.
Maybe she couldn't have been the head of the Spokane chair department or whatever you call it if she were white. Maybe she wouldn't have got promoted. But it is also telling, again, another thing the right wing are saying, which I think is great, is if there is this quote unquote white privilege, right? Like if you're white, you get ahead. Why would a white person fake being black to get ahead in a society where black people are left behind? That's another great thing about this, and another sign of progress. Like we are so we progress so far now that some white people have to pretend to be black people to get jobs. So a round of applause, really.
I heard that they probably kept her even though they knew she wasn't black because she was the hardest worker.
I know,
and that's not even a lie.
Racist.
They said that. I was like, oh wow.
It's such a scary thing to talk about for everybody because you can't ignore the racial element of this story. I mean, you can't ignore the racial element of any story that's involving the NAACP. But here's an interesting thing that I found when I was investigating. Rachel Dolezal is in a custody battle with her parents for her adopted brother. Okay, so her parents had her. She's 100% white. They also adopted African-American children.
Black.
So black. Oh, wait, I have to say black now? I like African American.
I think both are acceptable words.
So it's quicker. Okay. So that so something happened in that family. Some schism happened between her and her parents. One, she's become insane because now she thinks she's black and she's tanning her face
and writing death threats to herself.
Yeah, faking death threats. And she adopted her brother, and her brother, black guy, is saying he wants to live with her over his parents because it's a much more inviting situation for him as an African American. He says it's better for his culture. So there's something about the parents. I don't know that you can say they're racist because they're adopting black people.
Why doesn't he just live with his sister?
Right.
Why does she have to go out of her way to be his adopted parent?
I don't know. I don't know the
so many holes.
But here's the thing, Ned.
So she can say she has black sons.
Yeah, maybe it's a deal. Like, look, you give me.
But she already has a black brother.
No, it's her
she
son.
calls them her black
is
sons.
Her son now.
I know. Yeah. I know that, but why the change?
Probably for more street cred. I don't know. But here's the thing. Okay, so she's in a custody battle, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are going, why is this coming out now? Why are we hearing about it? Her parents leaked it to the press during a custody battle. So to me, that's kind of a dick move.
That's a dick move.
I'm not going to defend her because she's lying, but her parents were fine with her saying, look, I'm going to be Shaniqua here and go run the NAACP. But as soon as the custody battle happened, they said, look, we're going to tell them when you're white.
Right.
And they did. And she's confronted in this video. Actually, now's a good time to pull that interview. Yeah, I find it fascinating, honestly, because she just shits the bed.
My dad.
This man right here is your father? Right there?
Do you have a question about that?
She's shitting her
ma'am.
pants right now.
Okay.
I was wondering if your dad really is an African-American man.
That's a very... I don't know what you're implying.
Are you African-American?
I don't understand the question of... I did tell you that, yes, that's my dad. And he was unable to come in January.
Are your parents... Are they white?
She just leaves at this point. She leaves her purse and her cell phone, and then she goes and hides out in a clothing store until the reporter leaves.
She started breathing really heavily, too, after that first question.
Yeah, I wish we were a podcast with video because you could see her face. I'm sure everyone's seen this video. Go check it out if you haven't. You can see the terror in her eyes. So she obviously lied. It was important to her to continue this deception. And there is something going on with her parents. I don't know if it's an abusive family or what, where not only she has this schism, but the point where her other siblings are leaving her parents and she's adopting them as sort of a safe haven. And the underlying current there is that it's not safe for them as black people in that family. Their parents are, she said they're abusive. but maybe they're racist too, which to me would start to make up this sort of psychological background of this woman and why she would feel the need to be this other person. I mean, if you're in an abusive family situation, that's what a lot of people do. That's where like multiple personality disorder, for instance, comes from, post-traumatic. And again, I'm not saying this happened, I don't know, but it certainly lends itself to the theory that there's something, where there's smoke, there's fire. There's something from her situation with her family. So I'm going to give her a little leeway here. What I don't like, and the part of me that wants to punch her right in the face, in the white skin tan, fucking spray tanned face, is that she is also part of the hugest problem that I have in this country, and that's what we talk about, the victim mafia. Okay, now I've always said, what is the victim mafia? I always describe it simply as people that use faux victimization to gain political leverage. This is a woman that says, I was basically born a poor black child, even though she's white. She got in the head of the NAACP. She said that there were ropes on her lawn. There's been hate crimes against her. This is what she did, I believe, to get ahead within the organization. So she used fake victimization for political leverage. She is the exact problem with everything. And that's, again, the other part of this country that nobody's talking about. Yeah, did she pretend to be black? Oh, look how far we progressed that you can get ahead by being black now. The other part of it is, look how fucking easy it is for people to fucking bullshit and lie to get ahead in the workforce. And all you have to do is fake that you've been victimized because nobody's going to question you. That's dangerous. This is one of those things where if somebody says, I'm been victimized, horrible, look how horrible it is. It could be a white person. It could be a white bitch saying she's black.
I think I figured it out psychologically why she...
Let's psychoanalyze her.
I'm just guessing now based off of what you already told me, which is she grew up with two adoptive African-American men, right, as her brothers.
I think at least two. There might be three.
One or two. Okay.
Yeah. More than one.
And they grew up in I'm guessing, what did you say, Montana, Eastern Washington?
So, yeah, I apologize. I don't know that. But yeah, it's white.
Small town, mostly Caucasian.
Yeah.
Most likely, I could see her being very protective of her younger brothers or brother. And they probably maybe suffered some harassment or teasing because of, the color of their skin, which is ridiculous.
Right. Maybe by their parents even.
Maybe, even though they adopted them.
Yeah.
But
maybe they just wanted to help around the house.
I think psychologically she probably felt so protective of her younger sibling that she tried to somehow protect him by making maybe herself a target.
Maybe. That's fascinating. Or maybe she feels that she's like...
Do we know when it started? Or is this a recent adjustment she made?
Well, the custody battle's been going on recently. And
no, the change from black to white.
I believe in 2006 she started saying she was black because she also, the other horrible thing this bitch did was she took a scholarship to go to Howard University.
As an African-American woman.
Yes. So she took away a scholarship from an actual black person. So that's the bad side of it as a white person. Like, I'm always sitting, like, we're going to talk about Case Bolt later, and McKinney is like, I'm pretty pro-white. I'm not going to lie. And this is the bad shit white people do. Like, now white people are taking away black people's scholarships saying they're black. Yeah. It doesn't help us white people. It really doesn't. It makes us look bad. It's like, haven't we taken enough?
And these universities can't say, well, we don't think you're black. Could you imagine if a university or a company said that to a prospective employee or to a prospective student? We don't think you're the race you claim.
Prove that you're black. Yeah. Like they'd be shut down the next day. Again, that's the power of the victim mafia. That's why I add mafia to it. Because they put you in a position where you can't question. You can't do your due diligence as an employer. You can't. Because your race, everything you would do normally for anybody else, you can't do with this person because they've been quote unquote victimized. It gives them all the power and all the leverage. And again, why that's so criminal, mindless to say that, a white person's taking away a scholarship from a black person, which is bad. It's criminal because you're now taking away from somebody who actually is legitimately victimized.
Yep.
You're stepping over somebody who's been fucking passed over or raped or abused, saying, look, no one gives a shit about you. I'm going to pretend that I'm you and take everything you would get.
Right.
It's horrible. And we see it in the gay mafia. We see it in the left. We see it on the right. Everybody's doing it. Just put your head down. Do you two need some time alone?
No, I can't. I like to make eye contact with you, Jake.
He just pushed Dan's head down. I don't know who Jake is.
Sorry.
Anyway, it's a fascinating story. But again, the good thing here to remember is the NAACP is saying they don't care if she's white. She does good work. Of course she does good work because she's white, right?
Yeah.
And racist.
And they're going to stand behind her. And then everybody else saying, well, what does this mean? It doesn't matter because now we're going to look. It's just the natural chain of events, the next thing is to see what kind of work Rachel has done. Has she really done things for the community? Now we're going to be focusing on somebody's work and not their race. That's good. That is a good thing.
Right.
So I think this has kind of helped. Also, it's cracked the left a little bit because they're so swallowed up in their own bullshit over transgender rights. And again, I'm for transgender rights, but you can't just say what somebody feels they are.
But I wonder if the NAACP and the African American community, because I don't feel this, would allow someone like that's white to help if she really wanted to help, and she literally had to be black in order for them to accept her to be able to help.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like one of us could walk in there into the NAACP and be like, we want to be one of your leaders.
Not after this show. Not when they fucking start pulling up tapes of the show. We'll be lynched.
No, I feel like if it's an organization based on a race, you should be the race of that organization. The organizations in themselves are a little bit racist, you know.
Well, yeah, it's for the advancement of colored people. It doesn't say anything about the advancement of white people.
Right, or Asian or anything else.
Well, Asians are colored, technically.
And they're advanced. But
the NAACP has had this week their whatever statement, their official statement. They do say that. No, we don't care if she's white. We protect the civil liberties of everybody. So now they're saying they include whites in that. And now, because Rachel is white and she's under fire, they're going to protect her. So now they're helping white people, which again is progress, right? This is only good. Everything is good. I'm happy because, you know, in the end of the day, we always say it here, race really doesn't matter. In fact, if you start looking into the science of race, remember when we had Real Brother on the old show, everyone's favorite? And I had found this theory that geneticists, actual scientists have come up with. They cannot find a genetic link to race. According to science, race does not exist. There's no difference between you and a black person. There's melanin in the skin, but it's not a genetic coding. There's no race. In fact, they have had in history 2 black parents having a white child. It has happened.
Then how can we do these DNA swabs of, you know, the history or
you can find lineage. You could find
but
lineage.
They'll break down what your race was. Like,
right.
You're this percent, you know.
Yeah. But they changed. Remember, it used to be Caucasoid, Negrozoid, and
just
Chinkazoid. What was the
Mongoloid? Actually,
Caucasoid.
It is. We're Caucasoids.
The geneticist community has already gone away from that. They say that's old. That doesn't even exist anymore. So yeah, I know that it sounds kind of crazy, but according to science, there is no race. And even here, Rachel Dolezal was able to fool people that she was black. So we all laugh about it. Like, I couldn't say I'm black, and no one would buy it for a second. But some people can. Which shows that we're very similar looking, some of us. And then it really doesn't matter.
One of our members... Wow, that was weird.
What was that?
One of our members in chat said he's Caucasian, but someone happened to see his penis and said that he would qualify for the NAACP.
I do know what it's like to live partially black in the penis.
He said it's a true story.
It is a true story. That is true.
Sure.
Not your story.
But anyway, we'll follow this more closely. I do think the best part of this whole thing for me was Twitter, the hour to immediately after the story broke. The hashtag Rachel Dolezal was some of the funniest shit I've ever read. And that's really when social media comes to life for me. You know, a lot of times we get in fights with trolls here, or they're trying to get us fired and they're all crazy and blah, blah, blah. Every once in a while, Twitter just becomes this beautiful place where everybody's just jamming. And the funniest one I saw was this I think it was a black man. And he wrote it like in Ebonics. It was like, how in the hell... I'll read it in Ebonics. He's like, how in the hell did this woman pass as a black chick for 37 years? Did no one try her potato salad? I laughed out loud on that one, probably because of the way I read it. And there was remember the old purple dress, gold dress? There were some of those. Anyway, it was beautiful for hours. And everybody, for this one moment, everybody, black and white, NAACP, right wing, left wing, were kind of all attacking the same person. And it was beautiful. We were all together. And I think this is ending up going to be very good for us moving forward. And I do hope that Rachel herself, I hope I'm wrong about her coming from an abusive background. I hope that didn't happen to her. I hope she's just a crazy white bitch. With that said, that story, we're kind of moving on, but definitely follow it. If you haven't heard of this, you got to go check out Rachel Dolezal. You got to watch this video. It's hilarious. At the very end of the day, we have a white woman running the NAACP as a black woman, and nobody in the NAACP noticed. And I think that's funny in itself. There really isn't more to say about it. Now, the next thing we want to talk about is, of course, the McKinney pool fiasco. again, if you're living under a rock, you probably haven't heard, but it's all over the place. And what happened was, like everything, like we saw with Trayvon and Eric Gardner, was a black person was arrested or had a run-in with the police, shall we say, and the police happened to be white. So therefore, once you see that, you already have a contingent of the population instantly calling it racism and police brutality and hashtag Black Lives Matter, and protesters were already being invited to go protest in McKinney before any of the facts came out. And if you saw this story break on Twitter like I did, you were immediately told the officer pulled his gun on a 14-year-old black girl in her bikini. And they took screen grabs of him pulling his gun out, and it went all over Twitter, and everyone's mad, all the black people are mad. And I was like, well, that's bullshit. You shouldn't pull your gun on a fucking girl in a bikini. Like, where's she going to hide the gun in the bikini, right? So I go watch the video, and like every fucking time one of these stories breaks, Gardner, whatever, you go and look at the video, and it's nothing at all like being reported. I heard Eric Gardner was choked to death, and in one viewing of the fucking video, I go, wait a minute, that officer's already released his neck. By the time he's down, he's let go, and he's saying, I can't breathe. He's talking without a choke, and I'm hearing he choked to death? It's bullshit. So I go watch this video, and as this officer is wrestling this 14-year-old black girl to the ground, two black guys come up, they're her friends or whatever, and they start stepping up to the cop. They start coming up to him with their arms out like they're going to beat up the cop. So of course he's going to pull his gun out. And the second he pulls his gun out, he aims it at the two guys, not at the girl. And they turn and run, and as soon as they turn and run, he reholsters his weapon. Now, why was that right there? You can already see the bullshit happening. I saw it, I'm like, oh God, here we go. And I'm going to the fucking hashtag Black Lives Matter. It's like, oh God, he's pulling an unarmed gun on an unarmed girl, which is bullshit. Luckily, they retracted the people I argued with. But so the bullshit spin cycle's happening. The newspapers are getting clicks. Everybody's gotten their race war, food for the week. Everyone's all excited, like, ooh, we can hate another white guy. And then more stuff comes out of the story. Then the next thing you hear, once the Black Lives Matter people are saying he pulled a gun on the girl and they realize that was bullshit, the next thing is that they say it was a public pool. And that white people called the cops because black people were in a public pool.
Maybe they were concerned for them.
What? That they would... What?
Like,
get it out.
That they might drown. Like, maybe they were actually worried about the other kids there because there wasn't a lifeguard. I heard there wasn't a lifeguard.
That's true. When you see black people in a pool, you got to be a little worried because they can't swim, right? Is that what you're saying, Ann?
Well, it was a rich neighborhood, so any lower income.
And it wasn't
period.
Public pool.
It was not. Again, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So
I heard it was public pool.
Yeah,
yes,
public pool. He pulls a gun on an unarmed girl. First of all, we've already said the unarmed girl thing's bullshit. So the next thing they do is it's a public pool, right? Turns out it's not a public pool. It's a part of this gated condominium community, I believe. And the HOA, the homeowners association in this community, you have to fill out a form that you want to use the pool. If anyone's ever been to a gated community or a friend's house, my dad, it's not just rich people. My dad lives in a trailer, and his trailer park, they had a gated community. You have to sign it, and you say, I want the pool from these hours, you sign it. No one ever asked for the pool, okay? Then here's the next thing. It wasn't just 10 kids, which I heard. Over 100 uninvited teenagers, not just all black, there were blacks, there were whites, there were all colors there, showed up and were hopping the fence to get in this pool that they had no permission to use. So naturally, the HOA and the homeowners in that area didn't like seeing fucking kids jumping over the fence. A DJ showed up and started playing like really loud fucking... Yeah, they said that a lot of the music was like, fuck, smack my bitch up, playing rap music, whatever. There's kids in the area, so the parents are like, what is this? They're playing loud fucking music with swear words. Kids are hopping the fence, and then some of the kids start fighting with each other. They start getting fist fights. Now, you tell me, if you're in your fucking neighborhood, and this is not about white. If you're in a affluent black neighborhood, okay, and you're all black people that do well, and a bunch of meth head looking white kids, 100 of them show up in your fucking pool and start blasting fucking Pantera and country music and fist fighting, you're going to call the cops. It has nothing to do with race. It's just, they're uninvited. And we all know how stupid teenagers are.
Right.
Can we throw that out? Can we just say that?
Yeah.
Teenagers are stupid of all race. So they call the cops. Okay, now now I've caught you up to what happened. So uninvited, 100 guests, DJ blasting songs, goes smack my bitch up, suck my balls. The gated community members of it call the police. Well, the police show up. Now, in the old days, before the victim mafia took control of this planet, right, when the cops showed up, kids would leave. And if the cops said sit down or go home, you would either sit down or go home. Kids understood to respect authority. Nowadays, because all we're told is that cops are just racist white guys looking out to shoot you and choke you to death, there's no respect for police officers. So you see this video and the cops come asking kids to sit down, to leave. They're not listening. They're back talking. Right? Now, imagine being a police officer, call to this thing where people are fist fighting and telling them, hey, sit down or leave. And they start talking shit to you. Okay? And the girl that was wrestled to the ground, he asked her to leave. She said something under her breath. Okay? Now, I can't prove it, but if you look at the video, he's asking everyone to leave. She said something, and you see him walk over to her and grab her. If she was like, fuck you, cracker-ass cop, or whatever she says, he has the right to detain her. She's not listening. You don't listen to the cops, you get arrested. We've said it 1,000,000 times on this fucking show, right? So he then takes her, wrestles to the ground. The two black guys come up on him, pulls his gun. It's all fine. All's said and done. That's what happened. I haven't left anything out, have I?
Nope.
Oh, that she was wearing a bikini? Did you mention that?
Yeah, she was in a bikini.
Yeah, why is that important?
Because she can't be armed, obviously.
Okay.
Unless like Orange is the New Black.
I feel like if she was wearing like a Raiders parka and jeans and and she was like covering a lot of her body, maybe that would be, the cop could assume that they were, she might have been hiding something, especially, so he might have been even more afraid. But because she was wearing, I think, a 2-piece bikini, it's like she's already vulnerable.
But what does that mean? Like, you don't detain someone who's back talking and not listening to authorities because they have a bikini? Like, you say, look, I'm going to arrest you, but you have a bikini on, so you're free to go? Bullshit.
Visually, I think it just...
I understand. And she's 14.
Yeah.
And when you watch the video out of context, you see this grown man taking this 14-year-old girl and throwing her on the ground. But
he wasn't that grown. He looked 5'7".
Yeah, he probably
Napoleon's complex.
But I watched this video, and I have no problem with it. I don't. And to the point where everyone seems to have... even the people that agree with the cop are like, yeah, he went a little out of control. I don't think he
resigned. Over all the pressure, he resigned.
He was getting death threats.
Yeah.
He's getting death threats for doing his job. Now, how come no one is saying, look, when the fucking cops show up, whether you're a teenager or not, or a grown-ass adult, you do what the cop fucking says. You show respect to the cop, even if they are a racist bastard. We've done this show so many times. I'm getting tired of even hearing myself say it. But that girl did not listen to the police officer, and she was back-talking, and he should be able to restrain her. He should be able to fucking take her head and fucking run it side to side over the grass.
I don't know about that, Frank.
That's a little far.
I don't care.
It's a little too far for me,
Why
Frank.
is that too far? If you don't listen to the police, if you fight back, if you resist arrest, you will get taken down. You don't want to get taken down or manhandled. Listen to the goddamn officer.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, maybe she wanted it. Maybe she liked it. Anyway, so that's pretty much the case. Can you check the chat real quick, Ann? Make sure I didn't leave out any details because they're always...
No, they're on the right page.
Okay. But because I'm white, right? Because this is a racist country and the victim mafia has stronghold, and you no longer have to parent your fucking kids or tell them to respect authority because you're a fucking racist. I can't really say this. And you can't really say this. Ned, you can't say this. We can't tell a black 14-year-old to listen to the police officer because we're racist. But we can listen to a black person say it. And then it's okay, right? It's like the N-word.
Right.
So we've found this woman, what's her name, Keisa Jackson, who went viral this week. She's an African-American woman.
From Texas.
And she posted a video. I just found out, though, this woman's son actually attacked a police officer. But whatever. Not important. And she is actually, we reached out to interview her because her video is awesome. She's saying the same things we are, but because she's black, it's not racist. And we contacted her to interview her. And of course, because we're the Ann and Frank show and nobody listens, and we have like 10 listeners, she declined the interview. But that didn't stop us, right? Didn't stop us when our old show got thrown off the air. Didn't stop us when our trolls tried to get us arrested. It's not going to stop us that Keisa's not here. We are still going to interview her. Because that's what we do here.
Let's do this.
So we're just going to talk to her YouTube video. Well, I want you to listen to what she says. Okay, everyone in character? Everyone got your script?
Ready.
All right, well, here our guest on the phone is Texas mother Keisa Jackson, who had a YouTube video go viral this week. She's an African-American mother, and she has an interesting perspective on this case, same as mine, but again, she's black. Welcome, Keisa.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, Keisa.
I'm on lunch break, and I just had a discussion about the McKinney police officer, the incident that happened at the pool party. Mm-hmm. And, of course, things got a little, I'm going to say heated, based on people's different viewpoints.
Yes, Keisa, different viewpoints have gotten us into trouble a few hundred times on this show. Anyway, you were saying? Go on.
So I want to give my viewpoint on the McKinney police officer. And some of you might like this, some of you might not. But I think ownership needs to be placed where it should be, and that's in the parents.
Hi, Kisa. Do you think this particular incident was excessive?
Do I think that incident was excessive? Yes. But do I think it was necessary? Yes. Parents need to take ownership in what their children are doing and hold them accountable for their actions, as well as the parents should be held accountable.
Preach on. So tell me how this all went down in McKinney for those of us who weren't there. I've seen the video several times, but you were closer to it. So just tell us what exactly
happened. When the officers arrived, the kids started running. People do that. You know, I get it. It's kids. Ooh, the police, you take off running.
No, you don't.
Where I say parents are wrong is that you should teach your children that when the police arrive to a scene, you stand there.
Amen.
And you wait for instructions just based on you don't know what's going on. The police officer does not know what's going on. Secondly, everyone has or is in an uproar about, they reframed
restrained
the black kids and not the white kids.
It's restrained.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, it did look like the officer zeroed in on that black girl.
The white kids weren't running. The black kids were.
White kids don't run.
And I'm black, by the way. The first incident with the little boy sitting down. He told them to sit down.
That's right.
When he turned his back, they took off running. He chased after them. He made them sit down. With the little girls that everyone is, again, so upset about, he told her and her group of friends 3 or more times to leave. They chose not to. That last time when he told her to leave, she walked off and mouthed something smart and turned around
to
the officer. At that point, he grabbed her.
But did he really have to pull his gun out on kids?
No one's looking at the fact that she had 3 or 4 little friends that ran up on the officer. First of all, let me back up. He grabbed her. When he grabbed her, she started pulling away. You cannot pull away from an officer. At that point, that's a threat. So he had every right to detain her by any means necessary from Malcolm X.
Preach on.
That's the first threat on him. Number 2, her friends walked up. Not walked up, I apologize. Ran up on him. That's threat number 2 on an officer's life. Again, these are kids, but kids kill too.
That's true.
Let's keep it real. Number 3, the other group of kids that were behind this officer ran up. One little boy bucked up as if he was about to strike the officer. At that point, the officer did grab his gun, and he had every right and probable cause to pull the trigger, which he did not. Another officer touched him. He stopped. He reframed the little girl.
Restrained.
And at that point, the other officer chased the other little boys and brought him back. The officer then, another officer walked over, I apologize, put the little girl in handcuffs. Yes, she is saying, call my mom. At this point, he has not only been threatened 3 different times, not knowing who else is going to run up on him, not knowing how strong this little girl is or what the situation is, because again, they still have not figured out what's going on. So everyone is, again, so upset because he grabs her, he's holding her down, he has his knee in her back. What is he supposed to do? Calm her down, hold her gently? He's an officer. You do what an officer says when you're put in that situation where an officer has to detain you. Now let's get it straight, for real.
You are fucking dead on, Kisa. I could not agree with you anymore. We get called racist all the time on the show because we say parents should take responsibility for their kids and how they teach their kids to handle cops. And of course, cops should also take responsibility for not getting too carried away. It can happen. We had the Reverend Maupin on our show once, and he did this don't shoot scenario with the police, and he left there saying exactly what you're saying, that compliance is a must.
We are dealing with 430 years of systematic genocide. Nothing has changed. You are still black and walking.
Yeah, but I just keep hearing how all officers are bad, and I'm married to one, so I know firsthand that there are good ones out there and bad ones, but do you think all officers are racist and bad?
Are you there?
Hello? Are all officers bad? No. Are all officers good? No. But you still have to follow protocol.
Yes.
It's about, again, the parents and teaching our children to respect authority figures, whether it's an officer, whether it's a teacher, whether it's just a parent walking down the street. We are so quick to say, they better not touch my kid. If they touch my kid, it's all hell gonna break loose. No, your ass gonna be in jail with them.
That's true.
Now, again, I got sidetracked because this is very emotional to me.
What's making you so emotional? Hello, you there?
There's been so many black murders that I have said, that was senseless. That person didn't deserve that. Did the situation get heated? Yes. But what people need to be thinking about and thankful is that officer did not shoot.
Right.
Because he had every right to.
Yeah, where's the outrage?
We could all be talking about a funeral right now.
That's true.
Versus he pulled her hair. He didn't have to put his foot in the back of a 14-year-old's back to refrain her. She wasn't resisting. She started out resisting. So that's what happens when you don't listen to the authorities. Now, my break is over.
Well, thank you so much, Kisa, for your time and squeezing us in. I know you're busy at your lunch break at the DMV, but we here at the Anna Frank Show preach about taking responsibility for our own children's actions, and also anyone that abuses their entrusted powers. But what I heard you say, and I am absolutely in agreement with you, that is not the case of what happened in McKinney. So go grab yourself some lunch, honey. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Kisa.
I'm going to breathe. And again, parents, be accountable for your children. Children know what you're supposed to do. If you don't, then speak to a teacher, a coach, or somebody on what you should do when the police ask you to stop. And these situations will stop happening. Have a good day.
You too, Kisa.
Thank you, Kisa.
Well, it was really nice of her to call in on our busy schedule. I can't believe we rehearsed it. We didn't get one right.
We were way better in rehearsal.
Yeah, I think the pressure gets to us. But anyway, had she called in, that would have been how the conversation went. So we're okay with using this without her permission. And really,
How did you know she worked at the DMV?
Oh, I don't know. She works at the DMV. I just assumed.
Oh, I have no idea where she works.
It's probably the DMV.
Huh. It's true. I've been to our DMV.
Wait, does she not work at the DMV?
No, I didn't see that.
No, I mean, I ad-libbed. I assume she works at the DMV. I was just an educated guess.
So is that racist if we say that they work at the DMV?
It is racist, actually. I was just trying to be funny.
Oh.
But you know what? There's a couple points here. I was joking. Yeah, we always joke. We play with race here on the show a lot, and it's gotten us in a lot of trouble. None of us are racist, even though you wouldn't know it by listening to anything we said. But one of the problems I have with this, is it racist? Is it not racist? Just like this. Is it racist to arrest a girl who's resisting arrest? No, it's not. Was it racist for the people in the HOA to call the cops because 100 teenagers were jumping over a private fence? No, it's not.
So what is racist then? If let's say the teenagers are jumping over a fence, that's not racist. That's why they called. What would be a racist thing for them to do?
Oh, well,
in
if
the
you call the cops and you're like, there's black people jumping the fence, they must think there's, fried chicken here or something. That would be racist. That would be racist phone call. It's sad that we even have to explain what's racist or isn't racist. Just like Rachel Dolezal on this. It's clear when something is racist. It's pretty fucking in your face obvious. Like me saying she works at DMV. That's clearly racist, right?
Clearly.
So,
or stereotypical. There's a difference.
I think we need to educate people on what is racist or not. Right? I'm kind of scared now. I don't.
Well, we get called racist a lot. Well, how about I like this way. I'll say what's not racist, and you tell me I'm a racist.
Okay, you know what? This will be good and educational for people. Yes.
For instance, we will say in these situations, teach your children to obey officers to avoid these confrontations. Yeah. People will say that's racist if it's about black children.
No, it would be racist to say, well, I'm not going to do it. I don't know how to... What would be the racist version of that? I'm blowing this bit. I'm sorry.
I guess it would be maybe if the kids had a baby daddy, they'd behave themselves.
Oh, okay. That would be
instead
racist.
Of teach your children to obey officers, I guess.
You've got it written down. Just keep going.
You can't even... Okay, so an officer had to hold her down because she ran off and wouldn't sit down.
Not racist.
But
that's the fact.
It'll get heard as racist. But if you say she was acting, oh dear.
Let's not do this bit.
Okay.
I have a bad feeling in my stomach. But really, the point is, because do you want to do it?
No.
No, I'm scared. I've totally put
Okay. Well, last one.
Just do it.
I heard she slapped the officer in the face. That's one of the things I heard. Mm-hmm. And so that people will say that's racist for some reason, just because we're accusing her of something. racist would be more like, I heard she threw her grape soda in the officer's face.
Okay. Thank you for your hard
So
work.
we would say, oh, look at her. She deserved that because she slapped him in the face. And they'll be like, you're racist.
And that's the point. I mean, I know we try to be funny there and then we put it out. But the truth is, so many things, just by merely stating the facts of a case, you are immediately called a racist these days. And I have a problem with that. Again, the same reason I have a problem with the victim mafia. When you call something that isn't racist, you are now ignoring when something actually racist happens. You just sort of lump it all together because you're a left-wing babbling nut job and you think everything is racist if it doesn't agree with your agenda. Pointing out the facts that these kids were there without invitation, were causing a ruckus, to call them thugs, for instance, is not racist. To say they're thugs, like we saw with protesters in Baltimore, that was called racist. There's nothing racist about calling a thug, okay? Now, if you call him a chimp, that's racist.
And if you think black when you hear the word thug, you're the one that's a racist. When I hear the word thug, I think of just a dirt bag that's going to rob you, someone that destroys things.
That's what a thug is. And again, I to make this point, to bring it home, imagine that this is an affluent African-American community with a gated pool. Like they would have a pool. A gated community with, they don't know how to swim. Gated community with a pool. And a bunch of white fucking skinheads showed up at the pool. Or not even just skinheads, they're just toothless, methy-looking kids. You would feel endangered, and I would not accuse any of those affluent black people in their neighborhood of feeling threatened.
You're comparing the toothy white kids to the black kids? Because of how they're behaving?
Yes.
Okay.
They're thugs. You don't just show up to a fucking private pool party and start fighting and playing songs about smacking your bitch up in your testicles. You don't do it. It's a fucking someone's backyard. You have fucking respect for people. And if you don't, you're a thug. You're a thug. I don't care if you're black or white, you're a thug. It's not racist to point it out. I used to do horribly stupid shit when I was a teenager. We were fucking assholes. I used to, break shit on people's property as a dick. Okay? Now, if somebody's called me a thug, at that point, I wouldn't have said you're racist. I'd have been like, yeah, I'm a little shit. I'm a fucking little shit. I'm an angry little shit. That's not racist, and that's the point we're trying to make here. Now, if this were colors reversed, I would still be on the side. If this were a black officer taking a 14-year-old girl in a bikini down, I would be all for it.
I'm sure you would.
Yeah, the first thing that actually broke for me on the police was a famous video, Officer Riviere. And this guy's my hero. He's a Mexican cop, actually. And there was this little douchey little thug, 14-year-old little white little fucking trash shit, bouncing a skateboard on private property. And the business owner called the cop and said, there's a kid here, clank, 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 on a skateboard. So the cop comes up to the kid and he's like, you need to leave the area. And the kid's like, no. And Riviere freaks out. You can find this video online. He's like, I am an officer of the law. You do not say no. Sit down. And the kid wouldn't sit down and starts backtracking. So the officer grabs the kid's skateboard and wrestles it from him. And the kid falls when he wrestles it. And then Riviere breaks the skateboard. I love this video. I think I've masturbated to it at least 3 or 4 times because this little shit gets what he deserves. Now, that video went viral years ago, and everybody said that he was wrong and he got fired for having anger issues. Nobody looked at this fucking kid, this little piece of shit thug kid who would not listen to an officer, as a problem. And as Kisa, our guest, our fake guest, pointed out, and this is the way to wrap up this episode of the show, these last 10 minutes, is the point here. Forget race, forget all this. It's about parenting properly. It's about teaching responsibility to your children. That's what Kisa says. That's what I say. That's what anybody with a fucking head screwed on their shoulder properly would say. You do not backsass a police officer. You do not go to a gated fucking community private pool and just think you can have a party. You just don't do it. You show fucking respect for private fucking property and officers of the goddamn law. And these kids, like all of us, we were all douchey teenagers. We really don't know any better. We just think we're above it all. It's imperative that parents fucking instill in their kids that they get their shit together and respect authority. Why is that so hard of a thing to say?
Well, and I almost think it has to be like the birds and the bees talk, because I really thought about what she said, Kisa, and we need to have sit-downs on what should you do if police roll up at a party.
Yeah.
It's what do you do? I think I've had them show up somewhere, and the first thing I did was run. They said stop. We stopped. Like, we were scared. Like, oh my gosh, it's the police, because we were smoking pot, I'm sure. Like, we're 14.
Of course, you run.
And that's the first thing I did was run. Well, stop. I was scared. I stopped right away and, got patted down.
White kids don't run. That's what Kisa said.
Yeah.
That should be a movie.
I mean, really, like, when they come up, you stop, and see what they need. If you're not doing anything wrong, there's nothing to run about. So I think the ones that run, typically you would think it's because they're doing something wrong, but there's also the issue of, black children in the news right now being shot. So I think part of it could be that too.
Well, it's the culture. This is not race. This is culture. It's socioeconomic culture. If your community, and this isn't just blacks, this happens in white communities too, and all communities actually, if you're telling your kids that cops are evil and cops are bad and cops are racist and they're the man and blah 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 blah, the kid's naturally not going to have a respect for authority. And when you don't respect authority, you get your ass kicked.
But I think it's different in the black community from what I've heard from people that have shared with us that have been on our show, is that they instill the fear that police can shoot you or they might. But they also instill, so you need to just sit there and behave yourself. Yeah. That's the part that's missed. I don't think that happens with the poor white kids. Those ones are more punky, if you ask me.
Well, like that skateboarding little shit. He should have broke the fucking skateboard over his head. I would have been fine with it.
No, I hear black children are taught to fear and respect police. So,
everyone should be taught to fear and respect police.
Not fear.
Everyone. No, fear. Why not? Be afraid of them.
If you're in trouble, then I guess you should fear them. If you're not in trouble, there's nothing to fear.
Should always fear him, I say. Fear him. Like when I get pulled over by a cop, I'm afraid. He could, if he's in a bad mood, he has the authority. I understand the reality of the situation. If he's in a bad mood, or I look like some fucking one that bullied him when he was a kid, he could fucking impound my car. He could throw me in prison. He could ruin my life. For no reason.
I do get anxiety as soon as they pull up behind me. So there is something about it.
No, like I'm always like, "Hi, officer, how can I help you?" Oh, here's my. I'll fucking hand him the license on a goddamn silver platter. Literally, I'll keep a platter in my car if I would, and just be like, "Whatever you need, officer. I don't want you to ruin my life. You have the legal authority to shoot me in the head. You can do it. If you can prove that I attacked, you can do it. So why would I push that? What part of me? What kind of bullshit ego crap do I have? What kind of fucking fear of authority? What kind of fucking daddy issues do I have? Whatever it is. What would be so wrong with me that I would push that situation? I want to get out of there with the least amount of penalty. If I got to pay a $100 speeding ticket, I'll pay the fucking speeding ticket and go to traffic school. I do not push a cop. I never have. I've never bitched about it. And usually if you're pulled over, it's because you were speeding in the first place. The first thing I do when I'm pulled over is I say, "Oh, you caught me." That's the first thing I say. And they usually laugh. I don't sit there and go, "I wasn't speeding, you fucking lying, fucking racist cop." I'm like, "Yeah, do I know how fast I was going?" "Yeah, I was going 75 and a 55. You got me. Where's my ticket?" That's it.
You know what also helps too is when you have
being white,
your proof of insurance, and your driver's license in your hand as they approach your car, you give it to them.
Yeah.
They don't have to ask for it. Yeah. That really helps.
They like your hands on the steering wheels. Too.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd reach anything out the car. One time my friend got pulled over, Andy Begg, you remember him in high school, and I was following my dad's car. Yeah, homo. And he got pulled over, and I was like, we were going somewhere together. I'm like, I'm not going to keep driving while he's getting pulled over. So my dumbass went and parked and waited. I was just going to wait for the ticket procedure. But I pulled in right behind the cop car with my headlights on. This was at night. And I remember pulling up, and I parked, and I look at the cop, and the cop reaches back and grabs his gun. He didn't pull it out of the holster, but he pulled up, he put his hand on it and looked at me. Because that's a gang hit. Like when you're pulling someone over and and it was a tinted old Mercedes with tinted windows all the way around my dad bought. And I immediately put my hands up. And he's like, "Get out of here. Leave." And I did. I started the car and I drove away. And then I thought about it later. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of a threatening position. That was kind of naive of me, so to speak. But I'm not mad at the cop. I never would be mad at the cop. And I've been hit. I told you guys I got batoned by a cop. I told you guys.
I wish I saw that.
I know. It's the best part of it when he did it.
And you were a kid, right?
I was 18.
Oh, okay.
But I was such a pussy. Right when he did it, because I went up to show him where my sister's got in a fight. I went up to the cop. He came in the house. I walked up to him, looking away from him and pointing where my sister was. But I came up to him she's right over. And of course he walks in the house and someone charges him. I wasn't running, but I was, I was making my way to him at a heavy pace. I was a fat kid. And he pulled his gun and he fucking hit me right in the chest. And, I always talk about being manly. You know what I did? I went like this. Right. I went like this. I went, "Oh!" And I hugged my chest. And I was like, "Oh!" And he goes, "Sit down." I'm like, "Okay." And then I sat there and just held myself.
At 18.
I know. I'm not very manly. All right, secret's out. But again, I didn't sue the guy. Because I thought immediately after, oh my God, I threatened him.
My good friend actually sued the police department, but I think he was entitled to.
He's the black guy, right?
Yeah. I used to be really good friends with this black kid. He was one of my best friends growing up, and it was 3 p.m, and he was just walking to his home. He lived 4 blocks away from me.
Well, you grew up in Beverly Hills,
yeah.
I have to say, yeah.
But still, it's 3 p.m. broad daylight.
Yeah.
He gets pulled over.
Just for walking.
He was walking, and this was when we were probably like in elementary school. I'm talking 8th grade.
Yeah.
And, he won, he got a lot of money, but it's just,
well,
it's horrible.
That's the thing. I was talking to somebody in the know about this, and, I'm sitting here saying none of these cases so far seem racist. I think, Black lives, I think black people are crazy to say the cops are after them. And I was educated that, maybe these shootings, these big news stories, or this takedown, like maybe they're justified actions on the police department, but there is actual police harassment of black people when you tell stories like this.
Yes.
And I want to make it clear, I don't deny that, and you might not agree with me here, but the harassment, the thing they worry about is things like that, being pulled over. What are you doing on the street? Walking while black, driving while black. That's harassment. They have absolutely every right to be upset about it, but they've got to stop. If they really want to progress, they really want to shine a light on this kind of harassment, which is wrong, and the racial profiling, which is wrong. They should not get behind cases where the victim, quote unquote, was clearly in the wrong and attacked a police officer or resisted arrest. That does not help their cause. They should say, yes, Eric Gardner was justified. Tamir Rice was justified. I'm going to get killed for saying that. If they would just throw those out there, this girl should have been tackled because she was backsassing. But can we focus on the fact that you can't walk down the street as a black man in many cities in America without having the police roll up on you? Then I think us as white people on the other side, I think we would listen. I think we'd go, that's a pretty crazy plight. You shouldn't be questioned just walking down the street. That's not right. But they're not doing that. They're backing criminals, and I don't like it. Amen. Round of applause.
Amen. Woo!
We have 4 minutes. Is there any other thing we want to talk about? I'm sorry I blew that racist bit. I just was like, I just didn't. I was scared. I got scared. Did you get scared?
Well, I got scared when you got scared.
I'm sorry.
We're codependent on the radio show.
We've been in a lot of trouble this week. I won't go into detail, but there are people that are enemies of this show. They're enemies of us because we tell the truth, and they use everything. They take everything you say out of context. That's how the victim mafia works. They'll take a tweet, they'll screen grab it, they'll take a joke out of context. They could cut up this show in a myriad of ways and make us sound horrible. And unfortunately, that works nowadays. That's good enough for most people. No one really looks in the story. They don't care about your intent. If you said these magical bad words, we're going to write you off as the kind of person you are. And I don't know. I think we've done a really good job since we've become Anne and Frank. I think these shows here have been a lot smarter than our old show.
Much
honestly.
More better behaved, which I'm surprised with the freedom we have.
I think it would be the other way around.
It's almost like the rebellious children before, when everyone's saying, don't do this, don't do this. Right. It's like, why? Like, and then now we have freedom, and now we can...
Freedom. I just don't want to push it. And again, none of us... If you have to defend that you're not racist, that's bad. I won't even defend it. You'll never hear me say I've got a black friend or I'm not racist.
Or you have non-white children, like I say.
I don't care. If you think I'm racist, fine. I don't care. I really don't care. I really don't. And whatever opinion you have of me, I don't care. I don't lose sleep over any of it. But I do think if you have a problem with hearing that you should teach your fucking children to respect fucking authority, that you have the issue. I think there's something wrong with you. I think there's something wrong with people that would defend that lack of parenting. And I see it all the time. Anne and Ned, you've seen it. We've been in arguments over this multiple times where why you have to blame the parents. Like they think we had some agenda against parents. It's not the parents. It's this. It's the society. And it's like, no. Teach your fucking kids basic goddamn fucking principles of respect. That's it. I got nothing more to say. We have 2 minutes.
I'm good. Should we talk about my slumber party I didn't let my kid go to?
Do we have... Yeah, we could, I guess. We can just end
it's 2 minutes where we can end it.
Anne won't let her kid go to sleepover because she didn't meet the dad. Do you think that's crazy?
Yes.
I don't.
Why?
Because the dad could be a chimo.
Or could watch movies that we don't watch yet.
Do you know the mother?
They're divorced, so no, they won't be together.
She was fine because with him going to the mom, but she did, she met the mom.
Oh, but they live in separate homes?
Yes, I have not met the dad.
I didn't know that.
So they'd be staying.
So I don't think that's... I think she's entitled to think that way. If they lived in the same household and she knew the mother but never met the dad, that's different.
Yeah. Would you...
No, I was going to let him stay, and I think he has a stepdad there. So I was going to let him stay at the mom's who I have met. But he's really upset because I won't let him. I said, I'm sorry. I'm the parent. Can you
go right after this, go meet the dad?
No.
Why?
Because I will have to leave right after this for that to happen.
That's fine. I don't want to hang out with you.
Of course, I'm hungry.
Oh, we're going to lunch? Ugh.
Oh, yeah. I've been wanting to check up on you, see how you're.
I know. I actually thought we should analyze our eating.
Oh, today. Okay. Have you felt hungry before eating? Like actual hunger before you actually eat? I have lost
since our Kim Nutrition show. I am 198 now. I was 206 2 shows ago.
Wow.
I've lost 8 pounds on Kim's advice. So this show helps people. Sometimes even
helps. So you haven't been eating in front of the TV.
I never ate in front of the TV, for the record.
Well, you mentioned that before. On the
I
show.
just didn't want to leave her hanging. But what I did wrong was that, like I said, when I told Kim, is that when I would eat, and then I would start to feel full, then I would power shove the rest in because I felt like I was eating against the clock. I have changed that behavior so far. Awesome. It's still, it takes a long time for it to become a habit. I haven't changed what I ate intentionally, but I'm finding myself eating less junky, less sugar because. 2 things she said that really changed my life, hopefully it sticks, is be mindful of how you eat and how you feel. So I think before I eat something, I think, how am I going to feel after?
Yeah.
And that's turned off most bad foods because it's like, I'm going to feel like shit.
And have you still been shitting 7 times a day?
No, I'm not shitting 7 times a day anymore, actually, Ned. Thank you for asking.
That's great.
Yeah, no, I'm on probiotics. I'm on omega-3 fatty acids and other natural vitamins.
Like you're on fatty acids, Porky.
I'm so fat.
I got a little worried.
I still have this back, see?
Let me pinch it. That's pretty good. Yeah, you're looking anorexic, actually. I'm more worried about you.
No, these are just
look at her legs.
I don't understand why you were shitting 7 times, though, in the first place.
I don't think I had enough stomach acids. I had to replace stomach acids. So everything
just come in and out of you.
She wasn't. I believe she wasn't completing the entire bowel movement. I think she would just squirt out a little bit, and then because she's got kids
or deer pellets.
Yeah, it was like I've got 30 because she has 3 boys she has to watch all the time. So I think she gets when she's in the bathroom. It's not like me where I can go on iFunny and sit on my phone for an hour. Yeah. She has a limited amount of time. So I think she gets in there, gets out what she can, then tightens it up, and then goes out and plays with the boy, and then it just continues. But now I'm hoping you just sit through it, right?
No, I think it's my diet change and the probiotics. Really.
All right. Well.
So
anyway, we should have Kim back on because I want to get down another 14 pounds. That's my goal. I want to be 185.
Herman in the chat just said he lost 66 pounds already.
In 2 weeks?
No, it's been months since he started working out. Right after he left, when he visited us, is when I think it all started.
Did we fat shame him when he was here? Did we get credit?
We fat shame him, I'm sure.
Did we fat shame you, Herman?
No, you've never fat shamed me.
Oh, then what
he wore it pretty well.
What was your impetus to losing weight? I mean, and how do I get credit is what I'm asking.
I just wanted to be, because I saw the hashtag fit by 40. And I'm going to turn 40 this year in July. And it was time to lose the weight.
And you quit smoking too?
Yeah.
Damn.
I did that before I started losing weight.
Yeah, because you can't work out when you're a smoker. Believe me, I've tried.
Yeah.
Well,
and I didn't want to punish myself that much either, all at once.
Well, I'm sorry I did not fat shame you because I think fat shaming does work. Yeah. All right. Well,
yeah, the probiotics work. I mean, before this whole diet thing, I would shit probably 3-4 times a day.
Jesus.
After I started losing weight, it went to 3 to 4 times a day to about once every 3 days or 4 days. And once I started taking probiotics, it's actually just back to normal now.
This show is fascinating. We can go from race to shitting talk. Well, I'm glad you've lost 6 pounds, man. Fit by 40. Well, I want to be fit by 40. I got 3 more years. All right, well, enough said. We covered all our stuff. We're going to go get lunch. So anyway, thank you for listening. I don't think we need to play an outro song.
Oh, come on.
Okay, go ahead. Whatever. Thank you, everybody. This one's way too long.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first underground podcast.
And Frank. It's the and Frank. And Frank show. Frank should be first. And Frank. It really should be Frank and. But Ann and Frank's funnier. Why are we underground exactly? Well, let me explain it to you as quickest and best way I can. We did a real show for 3 years. It was immensely popular, as long as you didn't look at our numbers. And we told the truth week in and week out. And that pissed off a lot of people, because if you want to piss off people, you know what you do? You tell the truth, and that's what we did. But we were forced into hiding, because we were threatened to lose our jobs. We were threatened with CPS. We were